is bringing top government officials to you almost consistently 3 times a week. I was here before as a deputy minister, and when I look back and see what it was then and what it is now, I know that we're making progress. But that's what happens when the government has a lot to say to the people. So we from time to time engage you. We inherited a ministry, like I said, that was almost non-existent. And I've always consistently said I don't put the blame on individuals who are running the ministry. There was an intentional neglect of the Ministry of Information by the central government. So when I raise these issues, it's not about Eugene Namwe, who was minister a year before. It's not about Ledger already. It's about how a government chose deliberately to abandon an institution as important as the Ministry of Information. And what we've been trying to do is to call our government attention back to the fact that this ministry can be lacking to a situation that is security in nature, because information and communication is security. And there's no way you want to have a country that succeeds when you don't pay attention to communication. So we're glad that we're pushing and we're doing just what we're supposed to do. So I'd like to start off. One of the things that we inherited is that a whole Ministry of Information that people are supposed to be in any part of the world and just want to find out something about the country, and one of the first things that you think about is the website of the ministry. And you all journalists, I'm sure you've been checking. So we took over this ministry with no website. That was troubling. And Deputy Minister Daniel Sando, who heads technical services, and his team, they've been working very assiduously. And I want to state here that they have been able to restore, without a cent being spent on the ministry by national government, because we do not have a budget, they've been able to restore the website of the Ministry of Information. Use your gadget, use anything you want to do, and go check. Those who are far away from our country, wherever they are, they will be able to just want to find out something about the country. The first place you think about is the Ministry of Information. So you can go on to MICAT.gov.ru. It's going to take you straight to our website, and you're going to see current stories and pictorials since we started. And the fact that the team who achieved that with the bound pay. Because in the first place, those who were controlling our websites stopped having the website active because we could not pay them. Even as we speak, we hugely indebted to them. But that part of leadership, even with the indebtedness, we were able to engage positively, and they saw the need to do something. And with that one, we think about settling the financial side of the coin later. But I just wanted to say to the public, since people listening to all over the world, that you can now have access to the website by the Ministry of Information. I know that the people who ran LINA established another website independent of the ministry. We're not going to continue with our website. There should be different portals on our website. And LINA will simply have a portal there. You can click and find what is happening in LINA. LINA, as a part of the government, does not need an independent website on its own. You have to be able to access what they do when you get to our website. The next thing I wanted to talk about is that you observe that there are a lot of people in arms. And I mean in arms, not carrying guns. But there's been an attempt to resist the work of the asset recovery team. If Liberia must make progress, accountability cannot be compromised. No matter who shouts. You stand in the middle of Waterside Market and shout. It's not going to deter the government in its resolve to hold people accountable. It's not a jumbo justice kind of accountability. And therefore, like I said the other time, if you know you've done nothing wrong, why are you weeping? Why are you shouting? Why are you crying? And I said the other day that it reminds me of a scripture in the Bible, I think the book of Proverbs, that says, the wicked flee when nobody pursuing them. Why are you troubled by the desire, only desire to hold people accountable? If you are innocent, if you know you've done nothing wrong, you've got nothing to fear. But no amount of noise making, no amount of ganking up, no amount of resistance will stop our approach and intervention towards accountability. We welcome those who are aggrieved by the initial steps taken, and we appreciate the fact that they've not taken laws into their own hands, they run it to the courts. That's how our country should run. I'm not sure we had that kind of experience in the most recent past. If we're having so now, that too is progress. This country will do the right thing. This country will progress. If we find ourselves in a vicious circle where people are breaching the public trust, where integrity is a problem, and all we do after one stage is to say, let's move on. The past is the past. The Water administration has a clear opportunity to break away from that kind of scenario. And if you're taking what is ongoing to be a joke, think it in. You've heard different comments. I say recovery is a joke. Strangely, some coming from public officials. How is that happening? Should we embrace the rule of law? Should we be blindly engaging in attempting to protect and defend people, whether they are suspected or part of breaching the public trust? Should we not be embracing a process that leads to a closure? Under Liberian law, when someone is accused, it says you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Don't we have an obligation to embrace processes that are legal, that will end up either in conviction or acquittal? Is that not the law? Why are we standing against what is good for our country? So I just wanted to say for the record that the government is unwavering. The government will remain uncompromising as they want to take these accountability measures, because people must account for their stewardship. When I leave this place tomorrow after my service, if there's any iota of suspicion that I have done something wrong, I should not be troubled by an attempt to ensure accountability. And we just wanted to say that for the record. By the way, our country is making progress. The Ministry of the Government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Finance, was able to sign a $40 million loan agreement with the African Development Bank for what we call the Manual River Road Development Transport Facilitation. That's phase 3. I know it started in 2008. It is to make strategic interventions in critical spots, and it's meant to upgrade about 48.5 kilometers of road in Liberia, and that links the country to Kwendo in Sierra Leone and towards Guinea. And it's also going to move towards the southeastern part, which is Johnstown to Swedru section. Most of that place, is still natural road, but they're going to be making strategic intervention that will make the road passable. That will support the president's vision of NOCAL stocking in the mud. That will keep the supporting 11 fish time to Swedru, that axis, which should be asphalt. Critical intervention will also be made along those routes. While we're talking all the different issues, we said rather than reacting most of the times, we want to tell you what the government is doing, and we'll continue on to do just that. We were informed that updates is continuing from the Musla situation. The last time I informed you that 2 of the victims were brought to Monrovia and taken to JFK. Sadly, we've been informed that one of the 2 passed, and so that has taken the total death toll from that situation to 14. So today was meant to be a day for NOCAL, but as is usually, the Ministry of Information will always have something to say before we give the platform to the main actor. So At this point, I'd like to invite to the podium the officer in charge of the National Oil Company. And when he comes forth, he will introduce members of his delegation, and then he will eventually address you, members of the press. After his address, as usual, as is traditional, you will have an opportunity to ask questions that will ensure a lot of clarity on things that you did not understand, or things that will matter, but I will encourage you to pay attention to what he's saying so that your questions are directed there. Honorable Ejik Kabakoli is the officer in charge of NOCAL, and it is now my pleasure to invite him to the podium. Jake.
Wow. As the officer in charge of the National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL, Honorable Jacob Kabakoli.
And just as the minister has stated, those of us trusted with public offices must always give account for our service. And that's what I've come to do today, to give an account of the short time that I've stayed at the National Oil Company of Liberia. So, Mr. Minister, thank you. Thank you for affording us the opportunity, you and your staff. Thank you all. Before I go into giving my account, allow me to introduce my staff. Great bunch of young people that I have the opportunity to serve with at the National Oil Company. And so our controller, Mr. Richmond Jala, is right there. And our in-house counsel, Councillor Bachu, is also here with us. Mr. Tim Jarrett, everything technical. You want to go up on NOCAL, that's the guy to be asking. And our internal controls man is right there, also is here with us. And our human resource manager, Mapu, is also here. And of course, my good friend Deke, he's our procurement man, making sure we spend NOCAL money right. But it's an honor for me to be here, especially in this historic room named after the late Charles Bayer, one of Liberia's historical best renowned journalists. And so we've come today to lay rumors to rest. For some time now, some media houses have had a field day saying that I've squandered. Sometimes I hear 600,000, other times I hear 400,000, and different sorts of figures. But we've come here today to give you the facts. So in light of recent reports published by certain media outlets, it has become necessary to address the misinformation and smear campaign directed at myself and the esteemed office of the officer in charge at the National Oil Company of Liberia. As I have unequivocally stated, and I am now emphatically restating, I have done nothing wrong. Again, I state, I have done nothing wrong. While all evidence exists that the media outlets responsible for spreading this misinformation are simply tabloids and not one of the more reputable brick and mortar media houses, we deem it prudent, as is within my judicial responsibility, to get ahead of this mill and nip it in the bud. Unfounded allegations. Let me be unquestionably clear that the allegation of squandering of funds amounting to US 600,000 are baseless, malicious, unfounded, and without any merit. At no point in my oversight of the National Oil Company of Liberia have I signed off on any disbursement of such fund to anybody. Didn't happen. claims are only not false, but are also deliberate attempt to tarnish a reputation built on integrity and dedication to national progress. I am further convinced that the actors behind this ruse have a more immediate intention to discredit the President's appointment of officer in charge and to undermine the amount of consideration His Excellency gave to making this decision. With this realization, I am even more compelled to address the issues as I am now doing. Gratitude. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Minister of Information and the leader of the civil society for their unwavering support during this time. Their recognition for the truth and their vocal opposition to this unfounded accusation underscore their commitment to justice and transparency. To those media institutions who demonstrated remarkable professionalism in investigative journalism by seeking us out and making inquiries into the validity of the story. While many of us may assume that this is to be intuitive standard practice on the part of the media, this fiasco and the related publications are evident that it is just not so. What we see instead is a sort of yellow journalism that is a characteristic of a smear campaign. So, I really appreciate those institutions who exercise due diligence to uphold both the integrity and dignity of the Fourth Estate. The facts. Let's set the record straight now on what has happened at NOCAL. To set the record straight, here are the factual details of the project's progression and financial transaction prior to my appointment as officer in charge. On July 13, 2023, NOCAL entered into a contract with BMC Group Incorporated for an office construction project valued initially at $2.9 million. When the contract was initially signed, it was signed for $2.9 million. This contract was duly processed and appears to have adhered to PPCC's guidelines. The first payment to BMC, totaling $1.4 million and change, was made on July 17, 2023, signifying the commencement of the contractual obligation. This payment was made in two separate checks. Actual construction began in November 2023, again long before I even went to NOCAL. This amendment approved by the PPCC increased the contract to a value of $4.5 million. So when the contract was signed, it was 2.9, right? Yes. The contract was amended later on. And now the contract value stands at $4.5 million for the headquarters being built. This new amount represents an increment of 1.5 million or 51.2% that was added to the original contract. Jake Kabakole was nowhere around. NOCAL hired TSC Global as its project consultant with the primary responsibility of monitoring, evaluating, and satisfying that BMC was carrying out the project according to the terms and specifications of the contract. On December 15, an additional payment of $796,000 was made to BMC, bringing the total disbursement to $2.2 million, which accounted for 50% of the revised contract value. So that's how much money NOCAL had paid to BMC, and guess what? I didn't make the payment. I was nowhere at NOCAL. It is critical to note that these developments, including financial transactions, occurred before my appointment. My official responsibilities commenced on January 29, 2024, by which time the project was well advanced and the outline payments had been completed. Again, I've made no payments to BMC, as some of these institutions have been reporting. None of that is true. In continuation of the facts stated above, let me tell you what I've done. I've paid 6.7% of employees' educational benefits, which my predecessor did not see as a priority over a 5-year period. The leadership of the company at the time claimed it was executing austerity measures, and educational benefits were not as critical for the operational expense of NOCAL. The institution upon my arrival owed the employees $133,000 in educational benefits, which they did not pay for 5 years. So when I took over, the employees pleaded with me, and so we found reason to pay some of this amount, which totaled $9,000. Now you will see a cancel check of that amount. If you want to see it, we'll show it to you. And that amount was paid against employee benefits. In conclusion, I remain unwavering in my oversight of this very important national corporation. This is my commitment to the betterment of NOCAL and, by extension, our beloved country, Liberia. I understand how I may appear to be an easy target on account of my relationship of His Excellency Joseph Walker. But no one should be fooled by this. This is not a weakness, but a strength that encourages me to be extra diligent and to work harder to achieve the pillars of the rescue agenda for Liberia. I challenge you to provide to the public any record that shows that I have squandered $600,000 at the National Oil Company of Liberia. Those of you who are spreading this information and can't come up with proof, I say you shut up until you got proof. I remain focused on our goals and will not be swayed by malicious narratives. We call on the media to uphold the principles of fair and accurate reporting and to refrain from participating in character assassination. Under my leadership, the National Oil Company of Liberia remains dedicated to the responsible development and management of Liberia's energy resources, driving growth and ensuring the prosperity of our nation. I thank you.
His Honorable Jacob Kapakali, the officer in charge of the National Oil Company of Liberia, coming out with this.
Just before Pamela comes out to take question,
keep on online. My name is Wise.
there is something I just want to clear up before you leave. I'm sure that as you were entering the ministry for the press conference, you may have noticed that people are gathered here in the fence. Probably you may be thinking, is there a protest against the Ministry of Information? What are they doing here? It slipped off my mind, but I thought I needed to say something about it. The people you see there are people from the Ministry of State who were on the ministry's supplementary payroll. Last Friday, there was a huge security breach at the mansion. I was visiting the mansion when it took place. So as a way of avoiding any deadly clash, since I was present, I decided to engage them. And they respectfully listened to me. They were convinced to leave the part of the executive mansion that they have breached. And I listened to their concerns. I took a representative from their group up to Minister Grimsby. We had some conversations and we were able to succeed in having them dispersed. Some of them had indicated that if what we agreed upon was not met, then their next direction would be at the Ministry of Information rather than going back to the Ministry of State. Not with the intent of protesting, but to come and be engaged with me on what has happened. And so this morning they came. I had a conversation with them. I went back to the executive mansion. I got some briefings. I came back, spoke to them. I asked them to put a team of 10 persons together that I will continue to engage with until that matter is resolved. But what I want to also add is that most of them have very good intent for which they are agitating. But we have been reliably informed as to how they either have been infiltrated or some of the elements involved with them are being remote controlled by forces from outside. Some encouraging them to cause trouble. You see the security arrangement around the executive mansion is because we have picked up security information as to what, not generally the people who were concerned, but some elements in their base are planned to carry on certain actions that will undermine national security. And I'm glad that the group that worked here are largely peaceful, they are engaging, they listen to us, and we're going to keep working with them to resolve whatever the crisis is. As the Minister of Information, it is a part of my responsibility. If I see something trying to bring trouble and I can do something about it, I'd rather do it than to allow something to happen and then I'm busy providing clarification or speaking to it. That's exactly what we did. So I just want you to know so that you don't leave guessing as to so what were they doing. And some of you, like Jake said, and somebody could run for headline. Protest against me disappeared, but there's no protest against me. So I thought to set that right straight. So family, take control.
Thank you. Chief, Executive 3, please.
So they will ask question 3 at a time.
So folks, this will be online. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching.
Please
The
come
question
forward.
and answer time.
Introduce yourself at one
This is
person.
normal tradition here.
Thank you very much. My name is Chukon Fama, and I report for Spoon FM and TV. Thank you for coming to clear the air. But Liberians are concerned. We spoke so much about huge amounts being paid. As we all may know, there was report that NOCAL went bankrupt. NOCAL is now producing hydrocarbon or oil. So people would like to know the source of the money you're using now to build your headquarters. That's B and that's A and B to the question. Someone will say this platform would have been so, okay for you to share with us some of the things you've been doing over the period. Why didn't you use the opportunity, but rather to just come and refute allegation?
Thank you so much. My name is Maurice Oleti, and I report for OKFM. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your deliberation. I got a few concerns. Minister Pia, thank you. So one of them is the government aware of any planned protests? That's one. Two, by some opposition anyway. Because I would then see on former lawmaker on Rakal's grave social media page And number two, Honorable Minister, you talk about the issue of accountability. I want to know, have you declared asset? And two to that is, have you done your justice? Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Paul Phillips. I report for the state-owned Liberia speaker. My question goes to the NOCAL officer in charge. You talk about the initial contract to build a new NOCAL headquarters to be at 2.9 million, and then when later amended around July to 4.5 million 2023. Since you being there, what plans do you have to see whether the amount can go back to 2.5 million? And if not, why are you not thinking that I'm going to go back that? And B to that is, you talk about education benefit for local employees that pay some money about. Can you explain to me why it's the employee education benefit?
So there are three questions here.
Three, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So we start from the last one. For the record, the contract amendment was signed November 23rd, 2023. November 23rd, 2023. And the amendment was valued at 1.5 million US dollars. Everything we've seen about the contract was done legally, whether we like it or not. So there is no way that we can take the contract and say we're going back. The work on the building, matter of fact, the building is performing beyond schedule. We were able to do a tour of the building ourselves, and by evidence of the physical building itself, and both the contract and the contract by the Quality Control Consultancy Group, we see that the contractor is ahead of schedule. So it is not possible for us to now come in and say, we're going to take that money, put it back, and rewrite the contract. The contract has to go forward. The other gentleman asked, why did I use this platform to review allegations? But that was the reason for this press conference. If you want us to discuss something else, I'm willing for the media to cover anything, including yourself. You can come to the offices of the National Oil Company of Liberia anytime. And even if I'm not there, there will be people there to answer your questions about your inquiries. Source of NOCAL's funds. So, the oil business, they got something they call the data. They got a seismic data. So all of our oil blocks that we have here, we have seismic data for them. But as a nation, as a company, we don't have data here ourselves. So NOCAL has a partner called TGS NOPEC. TGS NOPEC houses all of our data for the blocks. So say if the Minister of Information was an oil man and he was interested in one of our oil blocks and he wanted to view the data, he would go to Texas, where TGS NOPEC is, and pay a fee to view the data. From that fee he pays, a certain portion of that money comes to the National Oil Company of Liberia. And that is how NOCAL is operating for now.
Thank you. Additional question.
Let me answer the young man's question. Protest. This is how I want to address the question of protest. 6 years ago, a leader was popularly elected. And I say popularly elected because we got 15 counties. We were told he won 14 of the 15 counties. Very popularly elected. 6 years later, the the people say you fail us. So they're talking about it. It is only more important that those who were enjoying the fruit of that leadership and who cannot stand the fact that they no longer have the power they had to sit in a period of sober reflection and ask themselves some hard questions. What went on? How come a popularly elected president was put out in just 6 years? But what we've noticed is that rather than paying attention to those kinds of stuff, many of those actors have become so losers. And they think that because they did not have power, the rest of you who are our citizens don't deserve peace. We know historically days that Liberians will never forget. So if someone calls himself or herself a citizen of our country who is supposed to be patriotic and nationalistic, and they begin to tell you things about April 6th, April 12th, April 14th, you should know their orientation. The choice will be yours to follow people who do not want to have your country have peace. So no, we have listened to loose talks on different media outlets about people who say they will protest. What we have not understood is the reasons for the protest. But those outlets are continuing, they are considered unofficial. So like you, since I listen to radio, I'm an information minister, right? And I'm supposed to hire away from the radio. So you hear a couple of loose talks around. Whether that amounts to being aware of a protest, I wouldn't say. But yes, we do hear a lot of wolf crying for people who refused to accept the new reality of their life. You know, if you stay in completely for 12 years, you know why you made to buy gasoline, they just put gas in your car free. Many of you don't have that opportunity. Just trash car in your car free. One end, your bank account is choke. All the soil that is not happening anymore. In the past, I was here before, right? 2017, we didn't win election. I was not all in the street, coming to protest. I move on. And I would have like to urge some of my friends to move from government was not your personal fund. That because you're no longer there, the whole country should not have peace. I've said declaration. They went from OKFM. So, if there's anyone who believes in strict adherence to the dictates of the law, I'm one of them. I have approached the LACC. They have furnished me with the forms. I have filled the form substantially. But I don't know whether you've seen that form before. The form is bugging, so I have asked them for assistance. And they've agreed to assist in concluding the filling of the form. So it's a process that is far advanced. And maybe less than a week or so, I will not only declare the answer, like others have done, I intend to also publish it. I'm not a very rich man, so I don't have anything to add. I'm a poor guy, right? Drugs. I'm 57 years old, older than many of you here. Maybe I didn't work to drink, I'm not sure. All right. So all through my life, even the thing you call cigarette, I never smoked it before. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I am. Maybe 10 years from now, when I'm away from 57, if I live long, from 67, probably I will still look like I'm in my 50s. I love gray hair. Why I keep it hair? If I want to be some other people and dye gray hair, it's black. Many of you and I didn't believe that I'm 57. That is because I carry myself well. I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't do anything, but I will take the drug test. What is that? I'm still here. So I still have done all the arrangements. Some of the things were not clear. When he approached the people with the drug test. Then he was like, You gotta pay the amount, you gotta pay that amount. We know that the drug test was a money making thing. I think we have a state medical institution. If something becomes a policy position of the president and they want the official to do drug tests, that have personal fee, I thought the government medical center that have the capacity should just do it. So you motivate everybody to do so. When you start attaching cost, then there's a little bit of problem. But even with that, we're not going to hold the process hostage. We pay whatever they say we want to pay. I think he said $45 or something to do a drug test. We'll go there, we'll pay him, and we'll do it. So, comrade, okay, you got no doubt that those are policy pronouncements on the part of the government that I'm personally committed to. But your general concern about accountability is not there with that drug test. When I leave from here tomorrow, the new government comes to power, I will not cry wolf when they say we're auditing all the ministry, including the Ministry of Information. I should be happy to say, do it. Because there's always the general notion when you work in government, people call you criminal. Those of you who followed the Spoon show the other night. But we're talking about the same local. A good friend, one of my good women that I respect so much. He went into outburst. The other one brought local down, roused a then store, and that. And he was on top of it unusually. I ask you a simple question. The government that just left power was your government. You passionately believe that people stole NOCAL money and you call it name rather silly. My question to him was, what stopped you in 6 years from pursuing legal action against these people? 6 years, not 1 month, not 2 months. When you fail to do that and any opportunity you get in the press, you give an impression that people are rogue or rogues, you're being dishonest. Because you had a chance in 6 years to hold them accountable. If you did not do, then it means you were not convinced that they did anything wrong. And if you continue to smear the repetition, it's politics, and we must stop this. We must stop this. Even the CDC government that just left power with all the concerns people got. I'm sure there were some officials from that government who walked away with flying colors. You cannot generally say everybody who worked in a government were corrupt people because, quote unquote, the government was corrupt. And that's the reason why these accountability measures are good, because it will help you to separate the sheep from the goat.
Thank you. Additional questions?
Yeah, thank you so kindly. Good afternoon. My name is Desmond William, and I report for Liberia News Network and Indoor TV. To the officer in charge of NOCAL, I beg your pardon. The Liberian people have instructed me to ask these 2 important questions. The first question is.
Just hold on 1 minute. Don't do things that you know you will not do across the board. The concept is 1 question per referral. If you finish and the officer in charge is still in a position to take questions, maybe there can be provision. But 1 question, 1 question. So choose the best of the 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with this, the issue about contracts, that's to do with NOCAL. You explained earlier that the contract was approved, tune of 2 million, if I got it right, and later amended up to 4 million. Now, the questions are, who did the amendment? That's one. And why was the amendment, done? And what are the consequential effects of this amendment? If there must be an audit, who takes full responsibility, and what are the benefits when it comes to accountability in public office?
You're a smart guy. I say don't answer 2, don't ask 2 questions.
Okay, thank you so much. So, I'm Francis K.D. Cooper. I report for the Liberia TV Network. I want to say
so stay here at the
we haven't received
Ministry
this
of Information, Culture,
regarding
Affairs and Tourism.
this information. And since today you have been
Today is a press briefing from the National Oil Company of Liberia.
Having this information that the CDC-led government left thousands of dollars in the ministry and also at NOCAL.
Thanks for watching. Keep sharing.
One of the richest,
I'll be online
in Liberia. So to clear this information regarding the disinformation and misinformation, would you like to tell us as to how much was in the cupboard when you took over as officer in charge?
Thank you. My name is James Samuel, and I report for Liberty Radio and Human TV. My question goes to you, Mr. Pierre. You stated in your presentation that there are some government officials who have resisted the asset recovery team. Can you tell us in this public manner who are those that are resisting the rule of law? Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Pierre Ramos. Report for John. I'm concerned, sir, the officers in charge for NOCAL. Basically, they have not told us whether the decision of the previous administration at NOCAL was wrong by amending the budget of the ongoing construction of a company to full constable baby. Because normally in government running, people normally say government is continuity. So I don't know whether you have the right to have, for the fact that you have taken over and you saw there was an amendment in previous time within the budget, and whether you have the right to have checked make the entire agreement to see whether the necessary budget will have been fixed, that will have fixed the entire project. I mean, so you can be able to get it done in that manner. Then letting it be, then maybe you want to come and make us understand that the previous administration actually added another money that was previously done to the whole project. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. You can respond.
So if I will start with the last question again, I'm not too sure if I understand my brother there very well, but let me see if I provide additional information or even information that was provided before. So, where's my brother that asked me the question? I'd like to look for you. So maybe we can engage each other in the answer. Yeah, I hear some of your colleagues even say they don't understand the question. But listen, again, the contract initially, when it was signed for $2.9 million. That's what I said. So I met that. Later on, NOCAL, the management, found reason to amend the contract. And they amended the contract for another $1.5 million. And that amendment was made on November 23rd, 2023. After the elections, but legally, President Weah was still in control of the country. Okay? So they made an amendment at that time, and they sought the proper procedures to do so. You have to state it. So what is that you need to know?
So my question here is, you have not told us whether the decision made by adding up the budget to additional 1.5 million was actually wrong or was necessary, because you taking over, you have seen the ongoing construction work, and you might have valued it to know whether it was necessary to have added a certain amount of money or not. If so, then tell us whether there could be a decision to have actually amend or see how you have subtracted a certain amount of money that was not necessary. If necessary, then I think you have told us whether it was necessary to have added that money or not.
So your question is, what was the reason for the amendment? Yes. Somebody asked that question earlier. So initially, the building, when the drawings were done, and the contract was valued at $2.9 billion, they had 5 floors, correct, Controller? Right. 5 floors. In the wisdom of the then management, somewhere along the way they figured, listen, for the scope of our operations, we will need to add additional floors. So they added 2 more floors, raising the building to 7 floors. 7 floors, rather. And that was the reason for the amendment. So that work is still ongoing. Construction is going on. I think maybe one day we'll find a time where we'll take the press and we'll go see this building. It's right behind City Hall. When you pass, you see it. It's in the open. So the reason for the amendment was the 2 additional floors that will be added to the building. That's the reason for the amendment.
Do we have additional questions?
Same question. Why did the amendment take place? I think we already answered that.
Yeah. How much are in the coffers?
So when we came in, we met $1.3 million there. That's what we met there. $1.3 million, yes. $1.3 million US. Okay, so LD, 5 million as per my controller. 5 million.
You want to make a follow-up comment in the queue, please?
Yeah, so my name is Buya. I just wanted to understand, ask a question earlier, they didn't answer that part.
Which one?
You're talking about educational benefit
Correct.
for employees in Payson, which were not being paid for 5 years ago. Just explain your why is the education benefit.
So, in the wisdom of the management of NOCAL, NOCAL decided that we will assist our employees with some money added to their salary and cap it as educational benefits. And what most of the employee does with this money, they assist them to pay their children's school fees. Those of them who are in school themselves, they can decide whether they want to use that against their own education. But most of them that I've spoken to, I remember when I took over and they came and appealed to me, the general consensus was that Mr. Kaba put this money here, that the money we're used to help our children go to school. So please help us. And so when we took over, that benefit had not been paid for 5 years. For whatever reason, the former management decided that they weren't going to pay that money. But the only thing that troubles me about it is they didn't pay that money to the employees for 5 years, but when they were leaving, they paid themselves well. The CEO paid us severance $170,000. The vice of finance, he carried $139,000. Maybe that's a legal severances, but again, I would have thought that you will pay employee educational benefits. You pay over 5 years, but you found reason to pay yourself well when you were leaving. So we decided that we'll gradually pay some of this money, and over time, hopefully, we'll catch up where NOCAL will be current in paying the employees educational benefits.
So thank you. My name is Inajo Pai, and I report for Fortune Television. Over the time, we've been hearing that NOCAL went big wrong. And you coming out now to tell us that you made $5 million, $1.5 million. How can
Do I say that I made 1.3? Let me correct.
$5 million in Liberty.
Yes.
So how can we be able to reconcile this statement in terms of NOCAL going big wrong and you made something in the court?
I thought I explained earlier how NOCAL is getting money. Should I go over that again?
Yeah.
No, give me your colleagues here. Next question. No. Again, no. There's something in this business they call 3D seismic data, 2D seismic data. So you got people who are trained to go in that ocean there to go check. When they come out and tell you, say, well, this is what you got over there. Our cameras and our equipment we took down there in the deep sea said, this is what you got. When they did that for NOCAL, they said, here, but NOCAL said, listen, we ain't got the facility to store the data here. So NOCAL got into an arrangement with the seismic company in Houston called TGS NOPEC. the big NOCAL partner since I came into NOCAL under Judy Bryant. So some of them will understand that I'm my first time to NOCAL. No. From Judy Bryant time, the Judy Bryant government brought me back to Liberia, and I worked at NOCAL as vice president for administration, and Musa Dean was president. At that time, NOCAL didn't even have office. Maybe one day we'll sit and tell NOCAL real story, so we can put the credit where it belongs. When we came, NOCAL had nothing. Matter of fact, we needed NOCAL. Councillor Musa Dean was kind enough to allow us to use his offices, his conference room. That's where we started the conversation that later on led to a company that did so much in Liberia. Sent a lot of people to school and did a lot of good work. But like I said, we'll take another thing for that one. And today, I came to tell you all that thing they're talking about that are squandering money, that lie. And if they can't show proof, they must shut up. That's what I gotta say. They must shut up and leave me alone. Bring your proof. You bring a proof, I'll resign today. Show me any check that I've signed at NOCAL in 400,000, 600,000, I'll resign. And if you can't show it, then you must shut up.
Last.
Yeah, thank you. Back again. Desmond Williams, second time around in the TV. And the question, straight to the question. You know, Liberians are interested in accountability and credibility at public service or public function.
And I hope I'm feeling Desmond, all the people that have been talking tonight will go back there and correct it too.
So, straight to the issue. With this amendment, the first budget for the construction of NOCAL's office, according to you,
the value of the first contract.
The value of the first contract was to the tune of 2.9 million.
Correct.
For 5 floors.
Yes, sir.
For 5 floors. Then at the second time, the amendment was done for just 2 additional floors, and it resulted into 4 when some more dollars into million.
No, 1.5.
1.5 added
the additional 2 floors. 1.5.
The additional 2 floors, 1.5?
Yeah, so it's on the 7 floors now.
Okay. So,
and the total is 4.5.
I'm concerned about the credibility because why? You have a 5 floors at the level of 2.9 million, and now you have the 2 floors for 1.5 million. If I got you right, 1.5 million. How incredible with this amendment? Because you have 5 floors for 2.9 million, and then you have 2 floors for just 1.5 million. So tell us, that I don't want to know how incredible was the amendment done. But we are all mathematicians.
Okay.
Take 1 minute. I beg you. You may talk. But I think I'm the Minister of Information here. Look, let's get honest about ourselves. Jay went to NOCAL in January. Everything you're talking about this contract was signed by the whole administration. You want Jay to be the one to explain to you the justification for the additional 1.5? Safwa May Gray is not there, she's alive. If you got concerns about why the amendment, why additional 1.5, go to Safwa Gray and ask her. He did not make the decision. He cannot explain why the decision was made. He cannot provide justification that was done by a predecessor. He's an officer in charge. You gotta behave. That's part of the problem. Government is continuity. You can't ask me about what the hell who really or a team did here. Continuity means the mutual information that says somebody here running it. If you have a concern about anything that went wrong during Ledgerwood time, you don't ask me. You go to Ledgerwood. Simple as that. Don't misinterpret the concept of government continuity. When you have people leave their offices and come to you like this, effectively utilize their presence. I think it's been clear. He just explained to you what happened. Now it's your choice. Go to Safwa. Why did you change the contract in November 23rd? Of course, legally, as he said, President Weah was still in power. They had a right to do it, but should he be the one to explain why they took the decision? He just gave you information as to the decision they took. The doubts you had about that decision, go ask Safwa.
So, if nothing else, because I want to make sure I leave the same question on my mind. Because I sat down for almost 2 weeks and I've been listening. Oh, it's got the money. Oh, if you had too money, with no proof. We should stop this. Because it's wrong, simply. Which institution you work for, sweetheart?
Fresh TV.
Huh?
Fresh TV.
Fresh TV?
Yeah.
Okay. So I jump on tomorrow and go to where is the talk show? The guy in the afternoon who's
Chet.
yeah?
Julius.
Julius, and get on there and say the lady from Fresh TV stole money. Yeah, man. Get on that. No evidence, no nothing. It's wrong. We should stop that. And I'm looking forward to the day in this country that our legal system will punish people who scandalize people's names. Because it's wrong. Some of us did not arrive here by mistake. It took some good parenting and some good training. And it took a while. And then you come and everybody says, oh, Jen will jump and Jen talks to them because they got no microphone to their mouth and they got these 2x5 platform. I think these days they got a Jen they can talk and that's what people need. We need to stop that. You hear something, come ask me. There's no hiding here. And that's why I thank the Minister of Information because he came and he asked me. And that's how he was able to go to school. And the gentleman from the civil society, he came to the offices of the National Oil Company and said, Mr. Officer in charge, we're getting all this stuff here. What advice? Yeah, advice here. So some of you could have done the same. Let's stop this sensationalized style of journalism. It doesn't help. It only creates, confusion amongst people. So I want to thank you all. In closing, my friend and brother, thank you. I'm older than you. Just for the record. But I want to thank all of you for your time. I thank you all for coming. And let's engage more. This is the way to find the truth. So before you run with a bad story, take the time. You all can come to the minister and say, listen, here, so can you arrange for that government official to come? We want asking questions. And let the government official ask the question. We also want to use this platform to thank the President of Liberia for his confidence in us. And I'm proud to tell you, I enjoy the confidence of the President, and I will continue to enjoy it. I don't care who like it, who like it. Thank you all.
All right, that was the voice of the officer in charge of the National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL, Honorable Jacob Kabakali, just the press here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism,
his name is Daniel Sando.
Would like to, as always,
as this press conference comes to
commend you, our media friends.
So thanks for watching.
For complimenting our efforts.
Keep following LB online.
You make our work easier in communicating with the Liberian people. We also like to appreciate the Honorable Jake Kabakoli and his team for beautifully explaining their side of the story to the public and to the media. This government, headed by His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Juma-Boakai, is just a little over 2 months old. And from what we see out there is an effort by some of our friends to make His Excellency government resemble past government. And so they are doing everything. If you look on social media, on the radio station right now, there is an outrage of negative media propaganda against the managing director of the NPO. Last week, it was NOCAL. Anybody who has his or her head well balanced between his shoulder, having listened to the honorable officer in charge, we clearly come to the realization that whatever thing that was said in the public, on the media, over the last 1 week, is nothing but far from the truth. We can't run a country like this. Information is security. People say this, who are outraged who go to NOCAL and set the place ablaze. They say, oh, the officer in charge expended 600,000. And before you come to the realization, something wrong has been done out of the best information that you sent out to the public. And that's why the ministry will continuously encourage our friends. Some of you who are involved with new media to come here at the Bureau of Communication to have your agent, your platform register, because we want to regulate what goes out there to the public. This ministry has a constitutional, legal duty to supervise and direct communications within the bailiwick of Liberia and outside of Liberia on behalf of the government of Liberia. So we appreciate the role that you play, complementing our efforts. But we also have to be mindful. We say it about people. Like you said, people take time to build their reputation. They just take one media publication to tear you down. We have a listening public. People don't read. Listen to what they say, what you see on the radio. So, thank you, boss man. And tomorrow, the folks from the Ministry of Agriculture will be here. This government, one communication platform, one voice, will continue to stick to it so that government communication can be synchronized to avoid contradictions. Tomorrow again, we look forward to seeing you here when the folks from the Ministry of Agriculture will be here. Of course, you know,
They will be joined by the PDCC as well.
they will also be joined by the Public Procurement and Concession Commission. You know, His Excellency is very much interested in the agri sector, and so it will be a good thing for you to come here tomorrow as early as 10:30 to set your gadget in place to listen to the folks from the Ministry of Agriculture in terms of accountability, compliance. 6 years now, you now begin to get it in PPCC and you look back in business. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And on behalf of the Minister, Jerry Peter, we appreciate all of you, our media friends, for complimenting our work at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Voice of Daniel Sano.
So please, the press conference ended. So let's call it live.
Thanks for
Let me see something to you.
watching. Thanks for
Press conference.
watching.